Hey everybody, I recognize a bunch of you. Hopefully this is new stuff to you guys. A little bit about me. So I coach this workshop. Why am I suited to coach this workshop? I spent a lot of time working at early stage startups. Facebook and Instagram when they were startups, Revolut, which is a really big startup out of Europe. And I'm the entrepreneurial residence here at the university and at PACE. And that just means I'm your general mentor. So if you guys, after this, want to discuss your ideas more or your pitch, you can come to my office hours and we can talk about your pitch or your ideas more. The purpose of today is twofold, okay? One is we're going to go through and we're going to talk about really focus on round one for the venture competition. For those that are not joining, it's the same thing as early validation for your idea, okay? So they're kind of two in one, right? So when I say we're focusing on round one, we're really focusing on how do we validate our idea, how do we do some customer research, and how do we get going quickly, okay? So it's really like I have an idea, I want to get going. That's that phase, right? We did do a workshop a couple of weeks ago about ideation, having ideas and all that stuff. So that's already kind of done, and hopefully now you at least have some rough thoughts on what you want to work on. And this is really going to take you from that, like I have a rough idea, to like how do I get going, okay? So that's important for the competition, and I'll show you exactly why. But also just if you're an entrepreneur, that's obviously important, right? So one thing great is we've really aligned the criteria for the venture competition to be really like true to life. And so there's nothing academic about it. It is purely realistic criteria on did you do a good job on vetting your idea. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. All right? Okay. What we won't talk about, like I said, the ideation process, and we're not going to go like really deep into like product development or anything, right? Mostly because it's hard, right? Some of you are going to have apps, some of you are going to have food businesses, some of you are going to have product businesses. That's not something we can do in one workshop because I can't tell you how to build an app, but at the same time how to 3D print a product or how to create like the best restaurant or something. That's just too many different topics. So we're really focused on taking your idea from like rough, vague idea in your head to getting it out into the world, okay? All right. For those joining, like why am I suited? So I used to be a coach before I became the entrepreneur. And so the first 2 years I was here at the university, I coached the two teams that won. And then last year, the team that won was in one of my other programs. So 3 out of the last 4 winning teams came through my coaching. So I get this, like I'm good at this, right? So I guarantee you, if you listen and you apply these, you will be competitive. Will you win? No, there's 15, 20 people here. You will not all win. But I guarantee you, if you listen to this and apply this, it is 100% applicable to the competition details, and it is 100% applicable to real life. And this is worthwhile content. It's not an academic setting by any means, okay? So yes. I have had the opportunity to coach a lot of the winning teams in the venture competition. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We did our announcements. We're going to talk for most of the time about what is your market and what is the value proposition of your idea. Because why is that the basis of most of our conversation? Because that is the most important thing. What I always tell people that come to my office hours is it doesn't matter if people don't want to buy what you're selling, okay? People want to talk about like, oh, I have this idea for growth, and I have this idea for my legal setup, I have this idea for marketing. It doesn't matter if people don't want to buy what you're selling. So that's what we're really focused on the majority of time is how do we know we have a great idea and how do we test that, okay? Then we're going to talk a little bit about how to get started, how to monetize. That's everyone's favorite topic, how to make money. But again, you got to figure out what you're building before you make money. And then we're going to talk about the competitive landscape a little bit, okay? So for this exercise, we're going to go through a lot of kind of frameworks and thought processes, but I want to introduce my make-believe business for today so that we can bring it to life and kind of work through this business together, okay? So my make-believe business is Lunch Express, okay? We're solving the problem of feeding busy students who are constantly on the go and don't have time to sit down for lunch. So it's focused on UH Manoa students. The target market is students with back-to-back classes. We have a rough idea of what we want, and we're going to bring it to life together today, okay? So I'm going to teach you a concept, and we're going to apply it to this business, all right? A few key things about my business. Let's see. So Notice I didn't say what it is, right? I didn't say it's a restaurant. I didn't say it's a food truck. I don't know. We're going to talk about that today, right? The second thing is it's just an idea. Just assume that I am a local entrepreneur. I'm not a student. I have no idea about the market, and you're going to help me ideate through this and bring this idea to life, okay? All right? This is literally all I have for my business, and we're going to work through this together. That's it, all right? Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we think about is how do you know what to make? How do you know what to build? How do you know what to create, right? And I think the first thought in most people's head is, well, I want to build X because that's cool. Or I really want to build this. I saw this on YouTube. I want to do that. And I'm here to say, like, right off the bat, that is wrong. That is wrong. That's not the way to build businesses. That's a way to build a product. That's the way to tinker. That's the way to experiment. That is not the way to build a business, okay? All right? The way to build a business is to first understand your customer and what your customer wants, okay? This is not me. This is all the best businesses in the world will always tell you we focus on what our customer wants, okay? So I have a little video here. This guy's Brian Chesky. Anybody know who Brian Chesky is? He's the founder of Airbnb, so $500 billion company now. So he's talking about the early days of Airbnb, okay? It's a podcast, though.
We literally commuted to New York from Nashville. So we would be in Y Combinator for 2-night dinners. And then Wednesday, Joe and I would go to New York. We literally would knock on the doors of all of our hosts. We had their addresses. We say, knock, knock, hello, hey, this is Brian, Joe, we're founders. We just want to meet you.
It's a little creepy just to knock on the door unannounced.
We needed excuses to get their home.
So they came up with an offer that the host couldn't refuse.
We'd send a professional photographer to your home and photograph your home. Of course, we didn't have any money, and we couldn't employ photographers. So Joe and I, we'd show up their door, and they're like, wow, this company's pretty small.
These home visits became Airbnb's secret weapon. It's how they learned what people loved.
It's really hard to get even 10 people to love anything, but it's not hard if you spend a ton of time with them. So if I want to make something amazing, I just spend time with you. And I'm like, well, what if I did this? What if I did this? What if I did this?
From those questions, a handcrafted experience is born.
We'd find out, hey, I don't feel comfortable with guests. I don't know who they are. Well, what if we had profiles? Great. Well, what do you want in your profile? Well, I want a photo. Great. What else? I want to know where they work, where they went to school. Okay. So you add that stuff. And then you literally start designing touch point by touch point. The creation of the peer review system, customer support, all these things came from us literally. We didn't just meet our users, we live with them. And I used to joke that when you bought an iPhone, Steve Jobs didn't come sleep on your couch, but I did.
Was there a particular experience that has really stuck in your mind?
I remember we met with a couple hosts, and it's winter, it's snowing outside, and we're like in snow boots. And we walk up to the apartment, and we went there to photograph the home. And we're like, hey, I'll upload your photos to the website. Do you have any other feedback? And he comes back with a book, like a binder. And he's got like dozens of pages of notes. And he ends up creating like a product roadmap for us. Like, we should have this. And we're like, oh my God, this is our roadmap. Because he's the customer. And I think that always stuck in our mind, as the roadmap often exists in the minds of the users who are designing things for it.
All right, so the last thing he says is the product roadmap, the company roadmap exists in the mind of the users who will be using that product, right? So Brian Chesky, one of the premier founders and entrepreneurs of our time, he's saying, how did I build Airbnb? I just talked to my customers. He literally says, I went to their house, I asked them, what do you want? I wrote it down and I went to build it. Of course, he's oversimplifying, but this is the way to build a business, right? Because too many times people come to me and they have a technology or a product that they're trying to find a customer. But wouldn't it be better if you knew the customer and you asked them what they wanted and you provided that for them, right? You have to think about that process is, from any problem-solving process, you would want to start from like the root cause, right? What is your problem that you want to solve? How can I solve that for you? And then how can I sell that to you, all right? At the end of the day, he talked this long story, all right, about how he went out and he discovered what customers wanted and how he talked to them. At the end of the day, it boils down to very simple things, right? It's what is your customer trying to accomplish and why haven't they accomplished that yet? It's as simple as that. Okay? What job does your customer want to do, and why haven't they figured out how to do that job yet? Okay? All right. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a mock interview. Okay. So remember, what is the business I want to create today? Lunch Express, right? I have no idea what it is. It's a lunch solution. All right? So we're going to go through and we're going to do a mock interview, okay? Because we got to figure out how do we build something? Talk to the customers. So let's talk to customers today, okay? All right, so can I get 3 people, students, with back-to-back schedules or like crazy schedules, even if it's 1 day a week? Anybody with like a crazy schedule? Okay, so we're just thinking here, like we want to build a solution and we want to know what your day is like, all right? So, all right, walk me through your pick a busy day for you. Walk me through your schedule around lunchtime, 10 to 2. What does it look like? Where are you going? Where part of campus are you on? Tell me your schedule.
First, I would start all the way in Holmes Hall.
Okay,
It's the
Holmes.
engineering
Yep.
building. And like I would have to go to a class at the Shidler building after
Okay.
that. And it's honestly like maybe a 15-minute
Yeah.
walk in between.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's during like lunchtime, so I'm hungry because
Okay.
I would want to eat. I don't have the time to prepare
Yeah.
food beforehand, and then
Yeah. What time is your class at Holmes, and what time is your class at Shidler?
I would say my class at Holmes is like 10:30.
Oh, okay.
At Shidler after, let's see, hour and a half. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't know where Holmes is. Is that like, do you pass Campus Center?
They're on opposite sides of the yeah.
So
it's
you
pretty-
Yes,
pass
past Campus Center.
Is that where you eat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, what is a busy day for you?
Busy
Like,
day
where
for
are you going? From what side? What
Alright,
part of?
well, I am a divorced mom.
Okay.
My busy day starts in the morning.
Yeah.
When I have to drop off my kid at
Yep.
school.
Yep.
So either I have him or I don't, because
Yeah.
I only have him half time.
Okay.
And then normally I'll be between 10 and 2. I'll be working in an internship from home.
Okay.
For the city and county of Honolulu.
Okay.
And eating lunch and doing meal prep.
Okay.
Lunch. yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're meal prepping while you work.
Not always.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Okay.
I try to take Mondays off to meal prep.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Let's come back to the prep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. What's a really busy day for you look like around that lunchtime?
Morning or 10 to 2?
10 to 2-ish. Yeah.
10 to 2. Usually I have classes starting at noon till like 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So before that, I'm trying to hammer out as much as I can on my to-do list.
Yep.
Trying to get some documents out for my work stuff.
Okay.
Things like that.
Okay.
Just back to back. I don't have
Okay.
hardly any time to eat.
Okay. All right. So let's go back this way. What do you do right now for lunch? What's your lunch solution?
Usually I try to cook in the morning or the night before.
Morning or night before?
Yeah.
But you do it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Eat at home or you take it to go?
Take it to go, or if I'm like super busy, then sometimes I'll try to stop on campus and grab like a plate of lunch.
Okay. All right. And then you meal
I
prep
meal
on Mondays.
I meal prep for lunch.
Okay.
Every lunch.
Every day or always Mondays?
Monday through Friday.
Okay. All right. So 2 people at home. Eris, what do you do?
I try to eat at home.
Okay.
But I'm also inconsistent with trying to prepare food beforehand. So
Okay. So when you eat at home, you eat before your morning class then?
yes,
So you skip lunch?
pretty much.
Okay. All right. You skip lunch or always eat lunch?
Always eat lunch.
Always eat lunch?
Sometimes.
Skipping. Okay. For our skippers, what have you tried to fix this problem?
Eat more.
Eat more?
before
Okay.
I leave for school.
Okay.
Probably snacking, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I imagine
snacking.
snacking would be like the
Yeah.
vending machines. And
All right. What have you tried to fix the problem?
Vending machine in Shidler.
Vending machines.
I
Okay.
noticed those tuna things you
Yeah.
get at Costco. Those are-
Why the
they're
vending
money
machine?
after that.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
the vending machine?
The tuna is good for protein. I try to keep up my
Okay.
nutrition.
Okay. So nutrition, convenience.
Yeah.
All right. Cost.
You should ask me about dinner.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're Lunch Express. That's it.
All
Stay
right.
focused. Lunch Express. Okay. So we skip sometimes. We go vending machine. Cost. We go nutrients. Are you just purely cost and convenience, or also?
I'm definitely nutritious.
Okay.
yeah.
What else have you tried besides meal prep and vending machines? Like, what other creative solutions have the three of you tried?
Meal prep works really well for me.
Okay. All right.
You know, I've got
All
I've
right.
got solutions.
Okay. All right.
Me, I would down a protein shake.
Okay.
Just deal with it.
Okay, protein shakes. Okay. Protein shakes to go, all right.
I'm about the same.
Okay, so protein shakes to go. Okay, what would ideal lunch experience look like for you? What would be great?
Ooh, definitely something high in protein.
Okay.
Also, good satiation for the
Okay.
rest of.
What about the experience?
We're all on protein.
Oh.
Do you like eating out of a vending machine?
Yeah,
Well, no, hold on, yeah. No? Okay. What would be the experience?
something hot.
Okay, hot,
Fresh.
fresh,
Yeah, and
nutritious. Well, how does it get to you?
well, I would have to order something.
No. What's your ideal experience?
Uber Eats.
No. What's your ideal experience? What's your magical experience? You don't have to figure out how it happens.
Oh,
Does it just show up to you? Does it just magically appear in your hand?
sure.
Does someone chase you down and say, this is your lunch?
If it's like a stop, like a quick stop.
Quick
on
stop,
the way,
okay?
yeah.
Quick stop on the way, okay?
I'd say Uber Express. Like,
Okay.
It'd be like black card delivering me my meal, and it'd be a surprise like that.
Oh, I like it,
That would
okay.
be like
A surprise.
you offer somebody 1 year of Uber Express or Uber Eats
Yeah.
for lunch, like that's
Okay.
gold.
Right to you, right to you. Okay, I don't even want to stop over. I want it right to me.
Yep.
Surprise, okay. Nutritious, surprise, right to me. What does your ideal experience look like?
I don't care as long as it says convenient as the vending machine and is more nutritious.
Okay, so nutrition, convenient, that's all that matters. Okay, all right. Thank you guys. Well, why does it matter? Let's have a seat. All right, so when we think about how to build something, there is a framework. It's called the value proposition canvas, and I'll talk to you about it. It's very, very simple, but it's gonna be the same thing I just did, okay? It's gonna be the same thing I just did. What the value proposition canvas says is, I boiled down, you can Google it, there's a bunch of people that write about it and talk about it. What they basically say is there's 3 things that we care about. What is the job to be done, okay? What is the pain point for the customers? And what is the gain that they would like to achieve, okay? Specifically, what does that mean is the job to be done. What functional task are we trying to accomplish? Or what social or emotional task are we trying to accomplish, okay? The first thing we need to know is like, what are you trying to do, right? Interesting, everyone said nutrition, right? We're not just here to make my stomach stop growling, but I also want nutrition. Great, so functionally, I need nutrition to keep going, but I want it to be like healthy, right? Okay, as we go through, what are the pain points? All right, what are current solutions? Why are the current solutions underperforming? All right, what difficulties or challenges would your customer want to avoid? High cost, high time constraints. What barriers keep your customers from finding their own solution? What do customers fear? What gives them negative feelings? Or what risks are they trying to avoid? There's no risks in lunch, right? But here we go. We're trying to identify what is the pain point with the current solution that they haven't achieved what they want to achieve, right? Okay? And at the end is what gains the customers want. Okay, on the flip side, what was the question I asked? What would a great experience look like for you, right? So what do customers dream about, right? All right, we had a very direct, like, here's what I dream about. What would make this a positive experience, right? What would exceed your expectations, right? Okay, so in this, it's very simple. What job am I trying to accomplish? Why haven't I done that yet? What would make this an awesome experience? If you could solve these things, you have a business. So how did I do that? I interviewed them, right? So let's talk about it. Let's summarize, okay? What was the job to be done? Oops.
Getting them lunch.
Yes, getting lunch. Okay, what else? Nutrition. They didn't just want, nobody said I just want a piece of bread, right? They all said I want something nutritious, right? Convenience. Okay, all right, we're getting into the convenience. Okay, what were the pain points of the current lunch solutions, right? So Gray and Eris, they had pain points, right? Sometimes they had to skip. What were some of the pain points with their current lunch solutions, right? What are some of the things they said they tried? They said vending machine, protein shake, I tried to make something at home. Why do you not always make something at home? Yeah, time. No time, right? Okay. Why don't you always bring a protein shake every single day?
It kind of gets costly after a while.
Costs. Okay. All right. Why not just stop by? Why not just go to the vending machine every day? There's apparently tuna fish sandwiches in the vending machine. Why don't you do that every day? It's cold. It's cold. Yes. Vending machines. Let's just make it say not appetizing all the time, right? Okay. What other pain points do we have? Right? Other fast things.
Out of their way to get to it.
Yeah. Other solutions are out of the way, right? Okay, it's got to be on their way. Okay, let's talk about some of the gains. What would make this a great experience? We already said, deliver it to me, right? Dana said, give it to me, bring it to me right here, right? Deliver it right to me, right? To me wherever I am. Okay? I forget who, somebody else said, it'd be nice if it was warm and tasty, right? I'm going to infer here, we didn't say this, but I think if it hit your macronutrients or hit all your nutrition requirements, that would be awesome, right? Okay. What about time? What would be great? What would be a out of this world expectation for time? You want to order it the night before? You want to just call it right there? What?
Well, two of them said that it should be as convenient as a vending machine.
Yes, yes. All right. Great. As convenient as a vending machine. Okay. Any other pains or gains we missed? Okay. The job to be done is simple. I got to get lunch. I don't want garbage. I want nutrition. And I want a convenient, right? Convenient option, right? Along the way, I got no time. I don't want to spend too much money. I don't want something that's cold and gross out of a vending machine. And I don't want to veer off my path, right? Right? Eric's gave a good point. He's at home. So he's walking all the way over right at 12, right when that peak hunger starts. He's got to make that 15-minute walk. He's got exactly 15 minutes to make it. I'm sure he's late for class, right? Okay. Gains. Well, no problem if you just delivered it right to me. Immediately, I said, come right now to me. Great. That'd be awesome. I'm not talking, we're not talking solutions yet, right? We're just understanding the problem, right? We're understanding the problem. Okay? All right. Anything else we missed? Anything else we missed? No? All right. All right, let's figure out a solution. Let's figure out a solution, okay? Remember, focus on solving the pain points of your customer or achieving the gains that they want, okay? First of all, who is our ideal target customer?
Busy people.
Busy students, busy UH Manoa students, right? It will expand, but our initial target market is busy UH Manoa students, right? What else do we know about them? They're on a budget.
Time crunch.
Yep. On a budget and time crunch. But they want nutritious lunch options. Okay. Right? You're a student, budget, time crunch, give me something healthy, give it to me right now. Awesome. Demanding customers. We love demanding customers, right? Because demanding customers tell us exactly what they want. Okay. Let's not focus on the feasibility or the cost or whatever. Just what are solutions? What are solutions?
Back in the day, we used to have the monopool man, and he would drive around my neighborhood.
Yeah, I love it.
Affordable food.
Yeah, okay. So we'll say mobile option that are driving around campus. i.e. the Manapu man. Man. Love it, right? Don't just give me a food cart, make the food cart go around, right? Okay.
Back in the 70s, before deindustrialization, they would have like hot food vending machines at factories. Restaurants wouldn't even have a front desk. They would just put it straight into a vending machine.
Yep.
You show up, you buy your food, you eat.
Yep, okay. What else? Hot food vending machine, love it. What pain point does that solve?
Mobile options is like
Yeah.
food trucks, right?
Yeah, what pain point is the hot food vending machines?
Well, it's as convenient as the vending machine.
As convenient as a vending machine. Yep, okay. All right, Dana, what are you saying?
I'm just, mobile options that are driving around campus as food trucks, right?
Yep, okay, so stationary.
Food truck Fiesta in DC.
Yep, so we can do more food trucks. We have some of those. Okay, what's wrong with the current food truck situation here?
They're stationary.
They're stationary. Yes, okay. More conveniently located food trucks. Okay. Gotcha. What else? What other solutions?
A lot of campuses have like robot deliveries.
Yes! Thank you. I was waiting for robot delivery. Yes!
At that point, would your target audience or target customer even be the students anymore or the institutions?
Oh, good point. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. For now, let's just say we're the students. Yes, that's a great point. That's a great point. Okay. I love it. I've been waiting somebody, the robot. Get the drone over here, baby. Right? Okay, what else? What else? Scheduled pickup. Okay, so pre-order, scheduled pickup. Okay, anything else?
It could be like a satellite location where the employees just drop it at buildings. So like
Yes, drop-off points. Yes, like we'll call it drop-off pickup points, right? Love it. Right? Okay, awesome. Okay, let's go back to our pain points, right? No time, low cost, make it more appetizing than a vending machine, but give it to me right away, make it warm and tasty, as convenient as a vending machine, right? Okay, let's think about this, right? Let's vote. What do you guys think? Which one solves those pains and gains? Drop-off points, pre-order, scheduled pickup, robots, food trucks that are more conveniently located or moving around, hot food vending machines. Just pick, shout it out. What do you like?
Food trucks.
Robots.
Food trucks, robots. What else? Scheduled pickup. What else? Okay, let's vote. Let's vote. Number 1. For mobile options, trucks or carts, whatever that are driving around. We got 2 votes. Okay. Number 2, hot food vending machines. 1. Okay. More conveniently located food trucks. 1. Okay. These numbers aren't adding up. Robot delivery. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay. Pre-order schedule pickup. 2, 3. Okay. Drop-off pickup points. 1. Okay. Robot delivery. Who has said robot delivery? All right. Why robot delivery? Let's go and put it back into our framing. Why robot delivery when we think about our pains and gains?
New meta.
Yeah?
It's kind of like artificial intelligence.
Yeah?
With new technology,
Yeah.
there's bound to be improvement.
Okay. But why does it solve these points? Like, why do you think a robot is better than other solutions at solving these?
They grew up with Rosie.
Say it again?
They grew up with Rosie.
Didn't get-
The Jetsons.
Oh, the Jetsons, Rosie? Yes. Well, why do we think the robot solves these? Does it solve these? Is it time efficient? Right? Is it cost efficient? Maybe. We don't even know. I don't know. Is it more appetizing than a vending machine? I hope it's better than cold tuna out of a vending machine. Okay. Is it out of the way? No, it's coming to you.
It's not emotional based.
Okay. All right. I like that. All right. It's just out there giving it to you. Knows its job. I love it. Does it deliver it to me wherever I am? Yeah. Is it warm and tasty? I hope that robot can keep it warm. Uh-huh.
I just want to add, like, the costs. Like, there's something going on campus that they're talking about increasing the costs.
Yeah.
Sodexo for
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. All right. It may be more cost efficient. We don't know yet, right?
Yeah.
If we don't have to pay Sodexo, maybe it'll be cheaper. Okay. Does it meet our nutrition requirements? Probably, because you probably be ordering what you want, right? And is it as convenient as a vending machine? Probably, because it's actually going to chase me down versus me chasing the vending machine down. Okay. So we found something that met more than half of our points. You will never find something that meets all of your pain points, right? But inherently what we solved was we figured out what does our customer want to be done, what was their pain point, what would be a great experience. And we created Lunch Express robot delivery lunch, okay? Awesome, right? Okay, here's what happened when I just said, let me put myself in the shoes of a local restaurant operator and say, hey, if I went back to this problem, let's just say I know nothing about my customer. I knew nothing about my customer, and I'm just a local restaurant guy, and I said, I want to solve the lunch problem for Manoa students. What would a solution look like? I never talked to you. The spot, exactly. Lunch Express. This is what I wrote last night. Introducing, well, I changed it. Uncle Jeff's Lunch Shack. We aim to provide healthy, I knew you'd want healthy, fast, convenient lunch options. Exactly what you wanted, right? Fast, convenient lunch options in our thriving student population for UH Manoa. Conveniently located just a short drive away at Manoa Marketplace. Awesome, right? Because, hey, Eris, in between those classes, can you drive over to Manoa Marketplace and get that? No, you cannot, because I didn't talk to my customer, right? I knew you want healthy. I knew you want fast. So I said, just come over here. It's just a 10-minute drive away. Park over here, right? Okay. Uncle Jeff serves high-quality farm-to-table lunches such as salads, protein bowls, and green juices. I know you guys love protein. I knew it. I knew you would love protein. Okay. Everything is farm, processed, and created locally, capturing the latest trends in healthy eating, local living, and more. Our high-quality ingredients are amazing, and amazing vibes are affordably priced at $25 to $30 per lunch because I got to pay that Manoa Marketplace rent, which is really expensive, right? So I don't know. Gray, what do you think? Is that as cheap as a vending machine?
I kind of winced at the price when it said
Yeah.
affordable, 25 to 30.
Yeah, right? But for that complex, that's pretty affordable. Okay. For those that are really busy, we will deliver it to you for an extra delivery fee on top of our $25 to $30. Okay. So did I solve any pain points? It was nutritious. I think that's the only one I solved, right? It was warm and tasty. Okay, I solved 2, right? Why? Because I didn't talk to my customer, right?
I meant luxury solution, the Uber Eats.
Yep, yep,
DoorDash, Uber Eats.
yep.
Yeah.
Tasty, warm. All right, yes. For another $10, for $35 to $40, you can get it right there. Awesome, right?
That 25 to 30 doesn't include the delivery fee.
Yeah, exactly. So for another $10, you can get it delivered right there. Okay, but this is what I'm saying when I say, how do you know to build? Talk to your customer, right? This is not a crazy solution. If you were a restaurateur that wanted to make a local lunch option for Manoa folks, you would probably have something that looks like this, right? But why did I create this in a vacuum? Because I never spoke to my customer, right? If I didn't come here and talk to these guys, I wouldn't have known that they eat out of a vending machine and if it could be better than that. I wouldn't know that, hey, like, you know what? Like, I actually have to cross campus all the way. Can you find me on that journey in that 15 minutes and give it to me right there? Yes, I can. If I'm a robot, I can do that, right? Okay? Okay, so do we see like the importance of it? Yes, I get it. You're going to say, oh, it's a made up example. But it's actually not that made up. This is literally why so many restaurants fail. They don't truly understand like the cause, like the root problem that their customer is trying to solve. Yeah?
Are you going to be sharing the slides?
Yes. Okay, right? So why do so many businesses fail? The other way to think about what did I say at the beginning? How do most people start a business? They say, oh, this would be cool. I love this new technology. I love this idea. I'm going to go find someone that wants this. I have an idea. I'm going to go find a buyer. No, why would you do that? Why would you do that? In tech, we call it a solution in search of a problem. Do not have a solution in search of a problem. Know what the problem is, then solve it, right? right? It's not a mystery why so many small businesses go under because they don't truly understand what the customer wants. Okay? All right. So that said, I have another video to explain that. Anybody who's this guy? Anybody? Come on. Jeff Bezos, thank you. Number 1 or 2 richest man in the world. Forget about money and all politics and all that stuff. In my opinion, the most successful entrepreneur of our time. Okay? Amazon, I love Amazon because there's no technology breakthrough. It's just sheer business acumen. Okay? And let's hear how he built Amazon. This is from 1999. Okay?
But I believe that if you can focus obsessively enough on customer experience, selection, ease of use, low prices, more information to make purchase decisions with, if you can give customers all that, plus great customer service, and with our Toys and Electronics, we have a 30-day return policy. If you can do all of that, then I think you have a good chance. And that's what we're trying to do.
You're not really a pure internet company anymore either, right? I mean, you've got millions of square feet now of real estate. You've got huge and growing inventory of items.
We do whatever.
And you've got thousands and thousands of employees now.
Yeah, we have over 3,000 employees and over 4 million square feet of distribution center space. And those are things I'm very, very proud of. Because with that distribution center space and half a dozen distribution centers around the country, it allows us to get product close to customers so that we can ship it to customers in a very timely way, which improves customer service levels. That's what we're about. If there's one thing Amazon.com is about, it's obsessive attention to the customer experience, end to end. And that's what those distribution centers are.
But you're not a pure internet play.
It doesn't matter to me whether we're a pure internet play. What matters to me is do we provide the best customer service. Internet, schminternet, that doesn't matter.
Well, but it does matter to your investors to know whether they're investing in a company that...
No, they should be investing in a company that obsesses over customer experience. In the long term, there is never any misalignment between customer interests and shareholder interests.
Well, that's the same argument that somebody at Walmart would make as well.
I don't see why not. I think they should make that argument.
So...
It's a correct argument.
Okay. So you'll open as many square feet of space, physical space, as you have to, hire as many employees as you have to.
To service customers, absolutely. And we'll do it as rapidly as we can.
That's a very...
Okay, let me give you the context. 1999, I remember when I was working in investing back then, the big question was, were you a real business or an internet business? Which is pretty crazy now, right, to think that, right? And this interviewer is pressuring him on like, are you a real business or an internet business? And what's his answer? What's his answer? It doesn't matter. We're a customer business. We're a customer business, okay? So Amazon now is like, top 5 biggest companies in the world, right? He said, oh, we have 3,000 employees. They have probably 1 million employees now, right? Okay, so here's the crazy thing. Go home and Google right now, Jeff Bezos customer experience. There will be hundreds of videos. He talks about this 30 years later, he's still talking about customer obsession. It's all he talks about. If you ask any Amazon employee what is the ¡1 value of Amazon, they will say customer obsession. Okay? If you ask an Amazon employee, are you an online store? Are you a data business? Are you an AI business? They'll say we're a customer obsession business. Like the first day you go work at Amazon, they will tell you we're about customers, right? And so when you think, oh, Jeff's like obsessed about this whole thing about do customers matter, it matters, right? That's just not me. Like this business here that has food, online stores, cloud data services, all he does is think about what does my customer want, right? Right? So you would think Amazon now, like how could you own Whole Foods and have an online store and have like the biggest cloud infrastructure business in the world? What does cloud infrastructure, Whole Foods, and online stores have to get? Nothing. It's just what the customer wanted, right? That's nuts, right? It's crazy, right? And it's just one basic principle. What does your customer want? Okay? So when I say this, I bring these videos up because otherwise it seems like an academic exercise. Oh, let's run through this practice and think about customers and what they want. It's not. This is like truly the way you build real businesses, is understand. And I would argue again that the reason that why most small businesses go out of business is they don't think about what the customer wants. They think it would be really cool to open a lunch spot in Manoa Marketplace that caters to students that don't want to come, right? Because that's what they think is cool, not what the customer thinks is cool. Okay? All right, so that is my rant. Know your customer, okay? Okay. With that, I'll close this first module on one more topic, and that's market size. So once you do know your customer, an investor, a partner, or whatever, the next question they're going to ask is, well, how big is your market size, right? Okay? So your market size here is trying to understand this concept of, I have a customer and I've solved their problem, but how many of them are there, okay? So this is another framework. So the first framework was the value proposition canvas. This framework is our market sizing framework. It's TAM, SAM, SOM. Go to any investor, they'll say, what's your TAM, SAM, SOM? This is one of the first questions they'll ask. TAM is your total addressable market. Your SAM is your serviceable addressable market. And your SOM is your serviceable attainable market. What this is really just saying is, how big is the total market altogether? So I just want to know, how many lunch eaters are there in America? Okay? Then your serviceable addressable market, this takes into account no constraints. If everybody ate lunch and they all wanted a robot delivery, how many of them would there be? Okay? This one says, okay, but really, what is your serviceable addressable market? You have to be in a place where robots can go. You're not going to be in a rural area where robots have to travel 100 miles, right? If you add basic constraints in, let's just say city dwellers, populated cities, then the market starts to get smaller, okay? And that's important because people want to know, like, if you understand your business and how it changes with the constraints of your market, right? And then the last one is saying, okay, but realistically, what are you servicing in your near future? So in our example, this would be, we're just focused on UH Manoa, okay? We got 25,000 students here. We can service all of them, right? This one's saying, to that point, we can service anybody on the go in Honolulu, in Oahu, right? We get the robots up and running. Why can't we go down to town? Why can't we go to Kaka'ako, right? We got the robots going. Anybody who's busy in Honolulu area, great, we can service you. And this is saying, yes, we can service all busy lunch eaters in America, in the world, okay? Why does that matter? Why does this matter? Because as you think about, like, if you're talking to an investor, you're saying to them, hey, I got a problem I know I can solve. Let me show you the solution. Lunch, we all know lunch, right? You hungry? I'm hungry, right? What's the problem? We don't got time. I have a solution, robots. The first question they're going to ask is, well, how many people want a robot lunch, right? Why does that matter? Because earlier someone said, is that cheap or expensive? It depends on how many people, right? If the robot costs $50,000 and there's 5 or 10 students that want lunch every day, that's really expensive, right? Because you're buying a $50,000 robot to service 10 people. Super expensive, right? But if you're saying, hey, there's 25,000 students and magically this robot could service all 25,000 students every day, that's pretty cheap, right? So it matters, your market size matters because your solution is only compelling if it's big enough to serve like a large market, right? Okay? All right, so I bring this up. We're on our journey. We have this idea. I want to make lunch better. And what do we do first? We figure out how to do that. Then we figure out how many people we can service, okay? All right, so that's like lesson 1, yeah? Okay, how does that fit in for those joining the competition? How does that fit in? Well, hope you're paying attention because that is 45 points out of your 100 points. Why did I spend 55 minutes talking about that? Because that is, for round 1, that is literally the most important criteria. That is almost half your points, okay? If you do not get that right, you will not be competitive, okay? Okay, so I told you guys before, I've coached 3 out of the last 4 winning teams. What is the first thing I say when a company comes into my office hours? The first thing I say is, what problem are you solving? Inevitably be like, oh, I love this cool robot technology. That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. I asked you what problem you're solving. And that is what we work on over and over and over again. What problem are you solving? What problem are you solving? Because if you don't know that, you will not have a successful business and you will not have a good pitch. Okay? When I coach people on pitches, I just make it a rule. Slide 1, what's your name? Slide 2, what problem are you solving? That's it. Start there. If you can't start there, then you will not be competitive. Okay? All right. So we spent 55 minutes talking about the problem and the size of the problem because that is the first part here. How do you define your target customer? What is your value proposition? The value proposition being the customer's pains and gains. What value does your business deliver to the customer? Are they willing to pay? We will talk about it a little bit. And how large is the market? How fast is it growing? Okay? We just answer those questions. Yeah? Okay? And I would argue for those that aren't interested in competitions, if you can't answer these questions, like why are you in business, right? Right? You might have the greatest product, you have 5 customers. Ooh, rough. I had a company, the first time I was here, the first week I was here, I had a professor come to me. The greatest idea, awesome. Tell me all about their technology, awesome. Who's your customer? Oh, we have 1 customer in the state that could buy from us. That's a bad idea, right? You do not want to be that technology that has a customer of 1, okay? You have to have a great problem to solve, a great solution, and a nice large market, okay? Questions?
I mean, what if it was a military contract?
Yeah.
It's a professor. Could have been, right?
Could be. But if you're thinking about purely about risks, that's risk, it's yes or no, right? Another, if you have a large market, there's shades of success. Large military contracts, large buyers, you either hit it big or you go home broke. That's it. So, yeah. I mean, there are edge cases that work, but there's another reason why traditionally, like investors don't like to invest in defense businesses or education businesses because there's only a handful of big customers. That's it. Yeah.
As a business owner,
Yeah.
do I have to be the subject matter expert in the product that I'm selling? Or?
No, you do not be. Yeah, you don't have to be at all. No way. Jeff Bezos, do anyone know what he did before he became Amazon? First of all, nobody was an internet online sales expert. He created the whole category. He worked at a hedge fund. He was a finance guy, right? So no, you don't have to be an expert at anything, no. You have to talk to your customer and become the expert, right? I would argue that if you are the expert at understanding the customer, it's way more than having any technical expertise in that area. Right?
What would you say dog fooding factors into all of this?
Dog food?
A market where you are already a customer in.
Like if you have a dog food and you're trying to like expand in the market, or?
It's a term used in tech.
Oh, dog fooding, yes.
Dog food.
Well, dog fooding means testing. Dog fooding means eat what you make, right?
Yeah.
So it's just testing. Dog fooding doesn't factor into this. Dog fooding is like you have to make sure it works. But that's like you have to figure out what you're building first. Yeah. I would say that's like way down the line. Way down the line. Yeah. Yeah, questions? Okay. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so we did this. We did the market opportunity, value prop, and market size. I missed that market size. Okay, let's build. Let's build, okay? All right, so the next step when we go to this is for your criteria is product development and customer validation, okay? What customer research has been conducted? Have you interviewed any customers? What progress have you made on product development? Basically, don't just have an idea, but show me it works. Build it or do some research, right? That's worth something. What we're trying to incentivize is people not to just build ideas, right? So what we said is, number 1, prove to me that this is a problem. Number 2, prove to me again that this is a problem, right? Okay, how do we do that? So we just talked about, we did the mock interview. For time's sake, I won't go through this, but this is a standard interview format, right? Okay, so if you guys want to go through and do real interviews, we'll send this deck out, but there's a standard interview format. If you guys are going out and doing customer interviews, I'll walk you through that, okay? I think one of the questions that people ask too is, why can't I just use ChatGPT to do customer research, right? Why can't I do a survey, right? Let's take our example, right? The customer discovery we just did. Why can't we just use ChatGPT to replicate that customer discovery?
It's based on your users' input.
Yeah, yep. We would have never heard that there was a vending machine in Shidler and that's the only option for you. How would an LLM know that? No way, right? And if you're thinking broadly about lunch solutions for the world, I would argue you're not solving a specific pain point, right? If you want to solve a specific pain point, narrow down on the customer, ask them what the problem is, right? Why is running a survey difficult? Bias, yeah. It's hard to make good surveys. Trust me. Oh, good surveys are almost impossible to. Okay, what else? Getting participants is hard, right? Another thing is, let's go back to our insights, right? I wouldn't have even really known to ask some of the questions until they started talking to me. Like, would I have uncovered that, I want it to be delivered to me right here, right away? When I've said that question, do you want it to be delivered to you right away, wherever you are? No. Would I understand the path that Aris takes, that he has 15 minutes to eat, but that 15 minutes is actually the time he walks from one side campus to the other? You can only uncover really deep insights when you talk to somebody, okay? Okay, I'm gonna take my business building hat off and put my venture competition hat on. In lieu of, if you do not do a bunch of real life customer research, like surveys and internet research helps a little bit, right? Do some research, right? But I'm telling you, if you want to build a real viable business, like nothing beats face-to-face customer research, okay? When I started my business, I actually didn't build anything. The first thing I did is I called up 20 people I knew. I said, here's what I'm thinking. Would you buy this? What are your pain points? How much would you pay? What services do you want me to provide? Redefine my business, and then hired and started building. That was the first thing I did. 20 phone calls right there. To your point, dog fooding, right? I eat what I teach. I said, talk to people. That's the first thing I did. I'm going to call 20 people right away. Okay? Okay, so do customer discovery. Talk to customers. Surveys are not worthless. They're okay for competition, but you're not going to get really deep insights, okay? Okay? All right, so let's say that we've done this customer discovery. We've made progress. Like, now what? Let's build something, yeah? What do we build? What do we build? Do we go out and build a robot? Should we go build a robot? No. That's expensive, right? Oh, man. Now I'm scared. It was a cool idea, but now I got to build. Oh, no. Like, now I'm really scared. What do we do now? Yeah?
Well, you just want something vaguely comparable to it, right?
Yes.
Like a vertical slice.
Okay? We want something comparable. We want to test our idea first, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to the concept of a minimum viable product, MVP, okay? An MVP, I'll show you one video and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, so this is from Y Combinator. Y Combinator is like the premier startup school in Silicon Valley. It is like the Lakers, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Cowboys, the Pats, all mixed in. If all those teams came into one team, that would be Y Combinator, okay? It is like the greatest startup school in the world, right? So they teach the same concepts that I'm teaching you, and here they're talking about MVPs.
In most cases, most people should be building a very lean MVP. So by that we mean you should be able to build it fast, in weeks, not months. This can either involve software, or honestly, we see startups just start with a landing page and a spreadsheet. But most startups can start very, very fast. The second, extremely limited functionality. You need to condense down what your user needs, what your initial user needs. to a very simple set of things. A lot of times founders want to address all of their users' problems and all of their potential users, when in reality they should just focus on a small set of initial users and their highest order problems, and then ignore the rest until later. You should have a vision of everyone. You should have an MVP very small. All this is a base to iterate from. That's it. It's just a starting point. It's not special in any way. You just have to start. And so please make sure you don't feel like your MVP is too special. Okay, here is a classic example. This is one of Airbnb's first landing pages in 2008, I believe. One of the things that you might be interested in about in Airbnb's first product is that there were no payments. When you found a place to stay on Airbnb, you had to exchange money with the host in person. Needless to say, that was a pretty fucking big problem, but they started without payments. No map view. You know how when you search Airbnb, you can see where the house is in the city? You don't have that, sorry. And the person writing all the code, Nate, was working part-time, okay? So everyone tells these kind of magical stories about how everything was perfect from the beginning. Airbnb, not perfect from the beginning.
All right. So I bring that up. This, I think, is a great example of an MVP, right? So what he's saying here, we built this awesome business, or they built this awesome business. Can you imagine that, like Airbnb now, where you would bring cash to the host? Be like, oh, I love your apartment, here's $500. Like, that's crazy, right? No payments, no map. It was just, and I remember using it, it was Craigslist. They basically copied Craigslist. It was just a list of properties with an address. Can you imagine posting your house with an address? Come stay here, knock on my door, and bring $500. Like, crazy, right? But what did they know? They knew that the core problem they were solving was, I need an alternative place to stay other than a hotel, right? For some reason, whether I need a kitchen or I need 2 rooms, whatever it is, the hotel didn't work for me. If we solve that problem, that's all that matters. So I'm not joking, they literally created a website that looked like Craigslist, that was just links to houses, and just said, San Francisco, here's 20 houses, pick one, email the person, and go stay at their house. How nuts is that, right? Can you imagine somebody emailing me like, hey, I want to stay at your house tomorrow? Right? Crazy, right? But that's the way it started. But why? Because they took the word MVP, minimum. What is the minimum thing that I can create in order to see if I truly solve the problem I identified, right? They understood a problem. Hotels aren't doing it for me. I need alternative solutions. What is the minimum thing I can do to prove whether or not I can solve that problem? This is like the most extreme version of minimum, okay? Why does that matter? Why do we want the minimum?
So you can get feedback as fast as possible.
Yes. So we can get feedback as fast as possible. Let's go in our example. Option 1, let's build a robot. See you in 18 months from now. After I've borrowed and begged and got a bunch of money, built a robot, I don't even know if it works. That's crazy, right? Right? Okay. Wouldn't you rather just get out there in a week or 2 with something cheap and see if it works? Right? Okay. What else? Why else would you want minimum?
Because if it's not a successful business, you haven't wasted all.
Yes, yes. I always give this example. If you're older like me, when you watch movies in the 80s, they would always be like, oh, I'm gonna go build a business. For some reason, they'd always go to their basement and start typing out on their typewriter a business plan. And then 6 months later, they'd be like, oh, I have a business plan. It's like, what? That's crazy, right? Also, I talk about restaurants a lot, right? Why do restaurants have a hard time? Because the traditional way to start a restaurant is I go sign a lease for 5 years. I go decorate this restaurant. I go host a grand opening, and I hope that people come. That's crazy. You put your whole life savings in, you hope people come. Wouldn't you rather, in like a week or 2, just test it out and see if it works? And if it didn't, fix it, right? So we want to go fast. We want to move quickly. We want to get feedback. We want to just put out and mostly we just don't want to spend a lot of money, right? So that's why we have MVPs, okay? So we have this idea of like truly what is minimum? How do we reduce our costs, reduce our time, get feedback faster, move faster, and see if we have the right solution, okay? Right? Okay. So in my example, oh, a couple more things. When he talks about the video, right? He mentions a few key things. He says, we had this conversation of, for lunches, couldn't we serve everybody? Yes, but we want to start small. He says the exact same thing. You can service the whole world, but who is the initial core customer you want to service, right? Start small. He gives a very specific number. Can you do to get started in weeks, not months, right? I have people come talk to me like, in a few years, I want to start this business. In a few years, technology, like the world's going to change in a few years, right? He's saying, what can we do in a few weeks, right? Okay? He also said it shouldn't be complete. If you are building an MVP, or if you're building a business and you're building your solution to be the dream product that you wanted to build, you are overbuilding. You're overbuilding, okay? All right? So let's just start small. Reduce our time, get feedback fast, reduce our money invested. Inherently what we're doing is reducing our risk, right? We just want to go faster, okay? Okay, let's brainstorm. Lunch Express, Jeff's Lunch Express. It's a robot delivery service for campus, brings you hot, nutritious meals. It intersects Eris when he's going from one building to the next. He knows exactly, he's walking through campus center right at this time, hands him the lunch, gives him a hug, awesome. That's the end solution. What is the MVP? What could be an MVP?
Ask the robots stick to
Yeah.
couriers, reporters.
Yeah, human can do that. Hire a bunch of humans, right? Let's just, people are like, oh, well, that's not cost, like, let's just ideate, right? We're still solving the problem. Here's a hot, nutritious lunch. I tracked you down. I gave it to you exactly on your path. I had Dana's point about like luxury service brought to me right here, but let's just use a human, right? What else?
I was going to say you could have like a pre-launch sign up to see if students click on it.
Yep. Yes. Yes. Okay, we're gonna come back to this one. You're going ahead. You're cheating. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, what else? That's a great one though. Yeah.
RC cars.
Yes. You can have. Oh, I love it. RC cars. Also, there was another example we said earlier. You could just do drop off, right? It's not going to come right to you, but there's going to be 10 drop off points along the way, right? Right. A lot of the ideas we had are actually kind of things that could work up into a robot, right? We have pre-scheduled purchases. We had drop-off points, right? Those could actually be MVPs that are super cheap. You could just put a bookshelf up in the middle of campus, put a bunch of lunches there with someone's name on it, just grab it and go. You ordered it, here you go, right? If we like that, then we can build a robot, right? Right? So I ask you, we had this idea. Who's excited about robots? I'm pretty stoked about robots. I think it's going to work well. You got a couple $100,000 or $50,000, $100,000 to go build one? I don't. Okay? But do I have $100 to put a bookshelf in the middle of campus and duct tape and write someone's name on a lunch? Yeah, I got that. I could do that, right? You do enough of those, you prove that it works, right? What happens if it doesn't work? What happens if it doesn't? Yeah, and we figure out why didn't it work? You talk to the customers. Hey, you ordered lunch, but you didn't come back a second time. Why didn't you come back? Oh, actually, you really just loved vending machines. Okay, then we don't have a viable business. Oh, actually, my cooking's terrible. You love the convenience, but my food sucks, right? This is also another reason why we do MVPs, because we can isolate the problem. If you had a robot serving food that you made and they didn't buy, you wouldn't know, is it the robot or is it the food? Here we can say, okay, wait a minute. We've isolated with one variable. It's going to be conveniently located. Do you like this food right here? Yes or no, right? Okay? So the MVP is awesome because it kind of gives us the time to like build up to it, right? Why invest this whole effort to like get something off the ground when people don't like it, right? Okay? So let's try to build something smaller. Okay, there are a lot of tricks, and this is a great kind of get. There are a lot of tricks that I love to tell people about building. Here, I never want to spend a dime if I know I'm not going to make any money back. Whenever I start something or advise people, I say, don't spend anything unless you're going to make money back. Wouldn't that be great? It's actually pretty possible to not spend anything unless you. I'm not saying that you're guaranteed a successful business. I didn't say that. I said I think most businesses can at least guarantee that they'll make a little bit of money if they did a little research and a little bit of MVP building. Okay? All right, so here's some tips. Let's talk about MVPs. So I kind of said, here's some different types of businesses. There's what I call the fake MVP, like the real fake stuff, and that's what Gray's talking about. And then there's like a functional MVP, right? Okay? So let's just say you want to build a mobile app. Who here can code a mobile app? 1, 2, 3, 4 people? Okay. The rest of you? All right, say you want to build a mobile app. What would you do? You can actually just build one in Figma, right? The ones that we talked about that, right? Yeah. Why do we, at the end of the day, if you want someone to see if your app is great, you can just build a fake app using Figma that looks like an app and feels like an app and get feedback, right? Also, if not, you can use AI or no-code tools to try to build one that's like bare bones, okay? So here's like the real kind of fake it. Here's like a quick and dirty but functional MVP. Yes, if you had a great app, you want to hire like a real developer that's awesome and it's going to do everything. But for now, let's just start. Simple, right? OK, you have a physical product. You want to make a toy, children's toy, right? You want to make the best toy out there. You can fake it. You could just make it a AI rendering. This is what Gray was talking about. You could just do a website pre-order. You could do a Kickstarter. What do you think Kickstarters are, guys? They're just doing market research, right? What are people doing Kickstarters telling you? They're saying, pay me, and then I'll go make it. What happens when a Kickstarter, if no one pays? They just don't go make it. This Kickstarter is like the true implementation of this methodology, right? I'm not going to build anything until you pay me. That's crazy, right? Awesome. OK? So what Gray was saying is like another common tactic is people will market the product. They'll say like coming soon, awesome robot delivery lunch on campus, sign up now to get on the wait list. And once I get X number of users, I'll go build it, I'll go make it, right? I actually have a friend that does this. He just thinks of ideas, he launches an ad, he says sign up for the pre-wait list, he has a threshold, once I get to 100 customers, I go build it, right? So this is a very common tactic. What you're trying to do with all these things is you're just trying to fake it and get validation of your idea, yeah? For a physical product, you could actually make something quick too that's functional. You could 3D print. You can go over here to the Paste Makerspace and make a small batch of something, right? You want to be the greatest fashion designer? Do you want to go to China and get 100,000 shirts? I hope not. That's really expensive. But you can go make 5 right now. Yeah? OK? I'm going to skip, and you guys can read this. Retail stores, right? You want to open a store. You think you have the best idea. I don't know. Like I'd love to start an awesome sports memorabilia store. Awesome. Jeff's memorabilia store where you can also drink beer on the side. Great. Awesome. How can I do that? Well, I can just try to sell my stuff on Etsy. I could try to sell it on like Instagram or TikTok shops. If people like it, then maybe I could do a pop-up. Why do you think people do pop-ups, right? You could do mobile boutiques. You can do a store within a store, okay? We see this now. I always bring back these restaurant ideas. You see this all the time, right? If you wanted to start a restaurant 30 years ago, you just had to go get a lease, open a restaurant, and hope for the best, right? Now what can you do?
Test kitchen.
Test kitchen, yep. You can do a farmer's market pop-up or a farmer's market stall, right? You can do a pop-up in another restaurant, right? You can do ghost kitchens. You could do all these things to test with no commitment, right? Inherently, everyone's trying to do the same thing. Reduce risk, get feedback faster, move quicker. Don't be old school like in the 80s and like have this 6-month business plan and this 2-year build-out plan and hope for the best. Let's just go in 2 weeks. Can we get it? Right? If you want to start a restaurant, you literally could start in 2 weeks, right? Have a recipe, buy some supplies, sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Sell it on the corner. If that works, graduate to a farmer's market. If that works, get a food truck, right? We're inherently just trying to build slowly, yeah? Okay.
In the case of something like an app, there's usually a lot of money to do the developer plan.
Yep.
How do you know which platform you should focus on based on where your users could be?
You mean like Android versus iOS kind of platform? Well, that one's, I think, just pretty easily researchable. Like, you know, who's your target market? What's their pain point? And there's tons of user studies out there on like what platform they're on, right? I mean, another thing is just at the end of the day is, are you selling to office workers or individuals? Individuals always use their phone. Office workers always use their computer. That's just like a known thing in the software industry. Yeah. This one?
No, the Pace website.
Oh, Pace website? Oh, yes, sorry.
Right, this one's probably.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions? Were you reading this part? Pace.shidler.hawaii.edu, UHBC. If you go to the pace.shidler.edu and then you'll find the drop down. And Addie's got it. Do we have cards or something or flyers now for the UHBC?
Yeah, flyers.
Yeah, there's flyers there. Yep. Yep.
This might be subjective, but I talked to an entrepreneur that owns multiple businesses,
Yep.
and he said I'd need like 150,000 to start up a business.
Totally disagree. It depends on what kind of business. It depends on like what do you mean by startup? Like no, totally disagree. No, it really. Most businesses, you don't need that much, but it's also the opposite end. If you're starting a robot business, you probably need $150 million. If you're starting the next great AI business, LLMs take like $1 billion now to build, right? So I totally disagree. For most businesses, you can start really quick and really cheap. Yeah. We can talk about your specific ideas later, but yeah. Other questions? Okay, so now what's our journey? We had this idea, I want to build lunch solutions. We interviewed customers. We said we're not building a restaurant, we're just building a robot that delivers lunch, right? We said, all right, how do I test that out? Let's not build a robot, let's just make little drop-off points. Let's use humans instead of robots, yeah? Okay, now what? Whoa, what's next? We're missing something important. How are we gonna make money, yeah? How are we gonna make money, yeah? I think people like to talk about that part if you want a business. Okay, how are you gonna make money? Okay, so inherently what we're trying to talk about is, I should move this up. In the UHVC, there's a part about feasibility, right? When investors think about feasibility, there's two parts, financial feasibility and operational feasibility. Financial feasibility is simple. Can you make profit, okay? What's your business model? Can you make a profit? And we're going to talk about that next, okay? And then there's operational. Does your technology actually work? Does your robot work? Do you have a working MVP you can show me, right? Can you show me a robot that kind of works? No? Do you have a moat? A moat is basically like, what's to say someone can't copy this idea? Robots are kind of hard to copy, right? And why you? Why you? Why are you going to be the best robot maker out there, okay? We're not going to talk so much about this because we spoke so much about like customer validation and research. We're going to talk a little bit about this because we didn't touch on this. Specifically, how do you make money, okay? So people always want to talk about this. What I did for folks that I brought to you guys here is I've highlighted like the top 4 or 5 ways new startups make money, okay? And we're going to talk about like different monetization models, yeah? Okay, and then we'll do a little compare and contrast at the end. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to talk about each one, different ways to make money, and a little bit about the pros and cons. So the first one is direct sales. Direct sales is you make something, you sell it, yeah? So my other thing I said, I'd love to make the best children's toy for my daughter. Awesome. What do you do? Direct sales involve producing and selling a physical product or digital product directly to the consumer, right? The steps are simple. Production, create, source, find that product or make it. After that, figure out where you're going to sell it. Is it online, a physical store, or a third-party store? Transact, swipe that credit card, and then fulfillment. Ship the product, or if it's a store, just give it to them. It's as simple as that, right? We just got to go make the product, find a place to sell the product, collect payment. Simple, right? So simple, right? Okay, what is hard about this? All right, so some examples. Apple does this, right? They sell phones. Another one, local, Rain Spooner does this, right? We make shirts. You go to their store, you buy the shirt. Simple. This is one of the easiest business models for us to understand, right? We make something, we sell it. All right, pros. The great thing is you get money right away. You get that feedback right away. If no one buys your shirt at the first day of business, you're in trouble, yeah? You get instant feedback, right? You have this direct relationship with the customer. The cons are, man, when you make stuff, it's really expensive. And by the way, when you make stuff, you have to pay for it first, then sell it, yeah? So making stuff is a really risky business because you have to make it first, buy the material, make it, hold it, and then hope somebody buys it afterwards. That's why it is hard to run physical product businesses, right? But the good thing is you know right away if it works, okay? Another con is the costs continue to increase, right? So if you sold 10 shirts, awesome. You want to go second batch, you want to make 20 shirts, you got to buy material for 20 shirts, yeah? Like the costs never stop. As you grow, the costs also grow, right? Okay? So that's model number one, direct sales. Okay? Business model number one. Business model number two is more for a service business. A lot of people come to me, I want to start a service business. Yeah? We do what's called like a retainer fee. The retainer fee is you charge a recurring or a one-time fee and you provide a service. Who does this? Lawyers do this. Also, a lot of young people, you want to start a website design or a social media agency. You charge a fee, you provide a service. Okay? Also a very simple product or very simple business idea. All right? How does it work? You usually start off with an agreement. This is the service I'm going to provide you. Sign this document. You set up some sort of billing, invoicing, payments, and you deliver the service, right? Okay? I like this one because it's fast. Why is this great? Number one reason people like this business model is its low startup costs. If you want to start up a web design agency, how much does it cost to start up? Nothing. Nothing. You literally go around and say, I can design your website for $500. Pay me now and I'll do it. What was the cost? Your time, right? But this is the lowest cost business model to start up. It's also predictable income, right? Because afterwards you say, hey, I did your website. I'll maintain it every month for $20 a month. I'll be your maintenance person too. So with that, you get predictable income, right? Because things, usually with services, there's an ongoing income. People like this kind of business because we get what we call recurring revenue, okay? What's the cons? Well, when you charge somebody $50 a month to maintain their website, you actually have to maintain their website, right? When you sell a t-shirt, nobody comes back to you and says, stitch the hole or like wash it for me. I sell your t-shirt, I'm done. See you later, right? But here, you want the recurring revenue, but you have to provide a recurring service, yeah? So that becomes difficult, time consuming. Also, there's also people with service businesses, people tend to ask for more, right? Right, so people always ask me like, oh, I want to start a web design business. Like, what do you think? It's a great idea. Guarantee they're going to start asking you to design their flyers, to design their business cards, everything, right? Sometimes you can charge them more, but if you said, I'll just do $50 a month to maintain your business, that's the problem then, right? They keep asking for more, right? So great business because it's predictable, steady stream income, no startup costs, but the work continues to grow. Okay. Business model number three, very popular business model, a subscription service. How does it work? You charge a recurring fee every month for continued access to a product or service. How does it work? Again, simple. You sign up, you register, you give your credit card, say, yes, I'm going to bill you every month. You will pay every month. I'll deliver this service, and every month it renews, right? Most common one, Netflix, yeah? Any subscription, though. Right? Newspapers are old school subscription business, okay? Variations, people always want to do box subscriptions, pet food, dog treats, kid toys, etc., right? Why is this great? Number one reason people love this, this is the number one way to get ongoing revenue. You get a customer once, they come back month after month after month. Great. It's a lot of recurring revenue. You can also upsell them. Awesome. You come here, for my Netflix, you want a second user, it's $5 more a month, right? Okay, the cons, again, when you charge somebody every month, you got to provide a service every month. So usually this is a software platform. You're not talking every month, but you got to keep making sure that it stays up and running, that you have to maintain it, that it doesn't crash. Yeah. Okay. If you do a gift box service, you got to provide a box every month, right? So if you provide a service, or if you charge a monthly fee, you got to provide a service every month, right? So great revenue. People love this one because it is very sustainable and very predictable over time, right? Okay, the next one for software app developers, the most common one is the freemium model, right? I'll give you my app for free, and then you have to pay for an upgrade, yeah? Every software product is like this now, right? Every consumer software product is like this, right? Right? Name your favorite software product, right? You get a certain amount of usage for free, but once you cap that out, you got to pay me, okay? Spotify is a great example of that, right? Variations of this, you can also just charge for in-app purchases. The great thing is there's a lot of flexibility in this, right? You can say there's different ways to charge people, right? You could say there's 5 tiers, there's 3 tiers, there's different add-ons, et cetera, right? The cons of this, you usually need a really, really large user base. So a lot of students will come to me and say, I want to start an app, I want to make it freemium. Usually the math is, you cannot beat the math. About 1% or less of users will pay for the product. So if you want 100 users, you better have, or if you want 100 paying users, you better have 10,000 free users, right? Like everybody has tried to beat this math. This is internet math. Like 1% of people, if you're a really great business, 2 to 5% of people might pay for your product. If you're a really bad one, you might get 0.5% of people. So you need huge volumes of people so that a small percentage of them will pay, okay? All right, but it's very flexible. It's very flexible. People love that because there's a million ways you can charge them and upsell them, right? Okay, the last one I'll say are ads. The classic time-proven business, right? Ads are simple. You have a user base. You sell ads to a business. You show that ad to the user, and you gain revenue, right? From the dawn of media, radio, TV, internet, all ads. And trust me, the next thing is chatbots will have ads, for sure, for sure. Chatbots will have ads, right? Any large consumer business has ads, okay? Why is it great? It is the most profitable business model on earth, is ads, okay? It's a great way to build large audiences, large businesses, because you could just offer a bunch of stuff for free because don't worry, just watch this ad and it's free to you, right? What are the cons? You need a lot of users. Millions of people using your product to make money on ads, okay? You need a huge scale to make money on ads, right? And the other cons are people, it's funny, people want the free product, but they hate the ads. Everyone complains about ads. Fun fact, I actually launched the first ad on Instagram 10 years ago. No, 11 years ago, I launched the first ad on Instagram. And all of my friends said, I hate you, right? But I said, you like that free product, right? Right? I remember back then, people would ask me, why don't you charge subscription? Trust me, on the internet, nobody pays for anything, right? People will complain to the end of time about ads, but they're not going to pay, right? And this is why ChatGPT will eventually serve ads because not enough people pay. This is internet truth, okay? Yeah.
Vaguely related, you're head of monetization at Instagram?
I started the small business team. Yeah. So monetization, well, it's a long story, yes. I started the small business team. We sold the first ad to small businesses, yes. Yeah. Okay? Anything else? Questions?
So would this ad business model, does it require like an existing business model to exist for?
No. Ads do not require an existing business model. You just put a product out there and put an ad on it, right? Right?
Okay.
This is the business model, right? have tons of eyeballs, show me the ad. Charge that person to show them, right? By the way, we see this everywhere, right?
Oh, okay.
Right? We see this everywhere, right? You know, I paddle canoe. The really good club, they got an ad on the side of their boat, right? It doesn't have to be fancy and digital, right? You go on an airplane, you go down the jet bridge, there's ads everywhere, right? Right? Ads are everywhere, right? Yeah.
Well, with that, don't you get into an issue at some point where you're fighting for engagement?
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. That's the con. Yeah. That's the con. User experience can suffer with too many ads, right? Yeah. Totally.
Not even just too many ads, but you have to keep them looking at the ads. Even if you don't overload them, you have to keep them.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's easier than you think. Yeah. Yeah. It's more of making sure that the rest of the content is good. Yeah. If the product is good, people will always tolerate ads. Trust me. It is not Instagram, TikTok. I mean, since the time of radio, since the time of live events, sporting events started, people always know that if your product is good, you can sell an ad. No problem. No one will ever walk away from a baseball game or a football game because there is a billboard out there, right? The product is awesome. I'll look at that stupid billboard all day long, right? Okay? Okay, so we talk about different models. Why do people love, say, retainer fees for, I want to start a website design business? Because it's recurring income, there are no initial costs, and it is super fast to get out there, right? Service businesses are awesome, right? Why do people like, why are selling physical products difficult? There's no recurring income. Say you want to make t-shirts. There's no recurring income. You buy my t-shirt, we're done. Initial cost, super high. You literally cannot sell a product unless you pay to make it. The recurring costs are high. If you want to sell a second t-shirt, you have to make a second t-shirt. And the speed to launch is slow because you've got to go design it, print it, et cetera, right? Maybe that it could be slow, fast to launch an MVP, but if you want to launch a full-scale business, you got to do all this operational stuff to make it work, right? Okay? All right, so these are different business models. When you think about feasibility, the whole point of this was feasibility. When we talk about Jeff's Lunch Express, right? What business model could we use? Jeff's Lunch Express. We can obviously use direct sales. You want to buy the lunch, put your credit card down, the robot will come to you, give you the lunch, right? Simple. What else could we do? Subscriptions, yeah, right? For $19.99 a week, you can have endless lunches, right? Awesome. Okay. Okay. So why do we care about this? Because when we go to feasibility, you can't tell people if you're going to make a profit unless you know what kind of business model you have. The business model also has to fit your product, right? I can't say I'm going to make Jeff's Lunch Express and make it a freemium model. First lunch for free, the second one you have to pay for. No. That's not the way it works, right? No. You either pay me for the lunch or you pay me for an unlimited supply of lunches. These are the only business models that work in this idea. Yeah? So then when I do, can I make a profit? Well, first of all, so by the way, there is a whole other workshop that Addie organized on financial modeling and all that stuff. That's in March. And you're going to go through all like, how do you model out your business? But the first thing you got to know is what is your business model, right? You can't go to the accountant and say like, am I making a profit? They're going to say, well, how do you charge money? Like, what do you charge, right? You have to know what your business is, figure out your business model, and then you can figure out whether or not you can make money, yeah? Okay? So here's our journey. We had this idea. We want to be the best lunch experience possible. We did the customer research. We talked about the fast and dirty, quick way of building an MVP. We know if it works, we're going to make money by charging a subscription, hopefully. Or if not, we're going to charge per lunch. Okay, all right. So the last thing in our journey is, oh no, that worked. Awesome. Great. Oh shoot, but there's another robot company that's coming to market. How do we beat them, right? Okay, so the last part of our journey is we validated the idea, we made money, we tested it, it's working, we're growing, but the competition's coming out. Oh no, here we go. All right, Addy's Robot Express is coming out, and they're coming hot into the UH-Manoa market. Can we beat them, right? Okay, let's see. So for investors, they want to know, what is your competitive advantage? Why is this important? Number one, people want to know, can you compete? But second of all, they want to understand, do you know your product and your market? Part of having an excellent idea and a well thought out plan is understanding the competitors and whether or not you can beat them. Okay? So the step one is identify competitors. This is the part people always get wrong. When you want to talk about your competitive analysis and talk to investors or your pitch about competitors, the first thing people do is like, what are the other robot companies out there? That is not the right move. Competitors, you got to look at the whole spectrum, direct competitors. Who else solves the same problem with a similar approach, right? What are other robot lunch companies out there? Indirect competitors, what saves the problem with a different approach? We're still competing with the vending machine because it's fast and convenient, and that tuna offers the right amount of nutrition, and it's right there, right when I'm going to class, right? I'm still competing with that vending machine, okay? Even if my robot's awesome, that vending machine will definitely be cheaper, right? And then there's the incumbents, the legacy competitors with massive market share, but they're slow to innovate. Campus Center, right? Right? For some reason, people still go. The giant food hall that's inconvenient, out of the way, but we still go, right? Okay, but those are competitors. So when we look at our competition, we have to think about the total set. We don't just think about the next up and coming robot. Because if you did that and you did this to an investor, you'd say, I'm the only robot delivery service in town. I'm the only game in town. We're going to capture all the lunch eaters. Well, no, because a lot of them are going to go to vending machines. A lot of them are going to go to Campus Center. A lot of them are going to go to those food trucks that are still out of the way because they're cheaper, they offer different options, whatever, right? Okay? So then the second thing is, like, you have to understand what differentiates you. What are the factors that people care about? Well, how do we know what people care about? We did the research, right? Right? So we know people want convenience, nutrition, taste, and like a luxury, bring it to me experience, right? So we want to compare ourselves to other competitors and other options across these factors, the factors that we've identified from our customer research, yeah? Okay? The last thing is creative visualization. There's two basic visualizations. There's the competitor landscape. Every VC deck you see will have this. Okay? These are the factors: taste, convenience, nutrition, bring it to me in a luxury experience. There's Jeff's Lunch Express. There's the vending machine. There's the food trucks. There's what do we call that place in Campus Center? The food hall. What do we call it? Campus Center food court? Food court. The food court. Okay, the food court. Okay? And then we do these checks. Yes, 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 yes. No, and hopefully mine has more checks than everybody else. Every investor deck will have this, right? The second one is like, here's a landscape, right? I'll talk to you about that in a minute, okay? So let's do this, right? So in our example, we would say like, okay, so we've got Jeff's Lunch Express. We have food trucks. Let's just limit it now because I'm running out of space. Vending machines, right? Okay, and we said speed, cost, location, or like bring it to me, right? Bring it to me. To me. Okay, and then Jeff's, wait, speed, cost, nutrition. Taste, right? Jeff's Lunch Express is hot and delicious. It's perfectly nutritious. We bring it right to you. It is the fastest, most convenient. It might not be the cheapest, right? It's hard to beat vending machines, right? The food trucks, speed, no, maybe, right? Cost, okay, some of them are cheap, right? Location, bring it right to me, definitely not, right? Nutrition, I don't know, are the food trucks nutritious? Maybe. We'll give them a check. Do they taste good? I've actually never been. Okay. Okay, ooh, we got a hot competitor now. They've got a lot of checks, right? The vending machines, speed. Oh man, check, 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 right? Cost, oh, check, 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 right? Location, bring it to me, maybe, if it's right there, right? Nutrition, maybe. Taste, no. Oh man, that's a tough competitor. That's a tough competitor, right? Oof, isn't that crazy? You built like this super expensive robot and you're worried about the vending machine, right? But that's actually true, yeah? Because you can't beat the cost, you can't beat the speed, and the taste is terrible, right? But that's nuts, right? Am I worried about that food truck? Actually, and this is true to life. If I built a robot delivery service, I wouldn't be worried about the food truck. We could definitely beat them. I'd be really worried about the vending machine. You can't replace that, right? Okay. So this is traditionally how people think about this, and it's a little bit of like art to presenting your business idea. You need to show this, but it's a little bit of do you truly understand your market? If I had talked to you before this and I said, hey, I got this cool idea for a robot lunch machine that's going to follow you around campus and deliver you a hot, amazing, nutritious lunch. And I said, my number one competitor actually is vending machines. If we hadn't had this conversation, you'd be like, that's so stupid. A vending machine, right, compared to a robot? But after you had this conversation and we interviewed our 3 people, actually, yeah, that's hard to beat, right? So this is why we do competitive landscape. We think about the factors that we've uncovered through our discovery. Are we truly meeting them? Are the competitors meeting them better? And in this amazing discovery, we realized that the vending machine does maybe a better job. Ooh, scary, right? Okay, the other way people do it is what we call like a landscape. They'll pick 2 of the biggest factors, right? And they'll say something like speed. So is this fast or slow? And then we'll say, I don't know, taste. They'll say tasty, terrible, right? And what people will say is, in my market, vending machines are here. They are the fastest but the worst tasting. This is vending machines. And this is Jeff's Robot Lunch Express. It is also equally fast, but 10 times tastier, right? So they're trying to, when people kind of do this, they're trying to isolate the biggest factors are speed and taste. And we fall on different parts of the spectrum. Therefore, we think that we're just a different kind of competitor, right? For most pitches or most analysis, this is better because this is more thorough, okay? So every deck that someone comes out of my office hours, you will have this page in that deck, okay? This is like just check the box, make sure you do that, okay? But in the real world of building your business, you have to understand that, okay? I love this idea because we uncovered all these weird things, right? Like, yeah, it's actually not a restaurant, it's a delivery service. And our biggest competitor is not the food truck or the restaurants, it's actually the vending machine, right? You would have never understood this if you didn't talk to your customer and you didn't do this analysis, right? Okay, so with that said, why does the competitive advantage matter? What judges, investors, everybody looking for is, can a big player come in and just copy your feature tomorrow, right? In this case, it's pretty hard, but you don't have to. You could just do a better job with a vending machine and be hard to beat, right? Why now? Why now? Why is it awesome? Because robots are coming online. This is the future, right? This could be a wave that we can ride that wave, right? The market, do you understand the market? You're entering into a very old market. Lunch service is something that's been around for hundreds of years, right? Why do you think your new idea is going to be better, right? All right, and most importantly, do your differentiators meet the needs, the pains and the gains of the customer, right? Don't listen to me, listen to Jeff Bezos, the most successful entrepreneur of our time, and all he cares about is what does my customer want, right? Okay, and with that said, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna go back to our criteria, okay? So we spent a bunch of time talking about pains and gains and the size of the market. That is, what is your market opportunity, okay? We should probably try to make something. So do we have any progress? Did we actually do any product development? I will say, a lot of you will focus more on just writing a deck. Every year, the winning team actually has some sort of prototype, okay? Every year, the winning team has something to show, okay? Or else it's hard because you're just words on a page, yeah? But nowadays, you can make stuff so fast, okay? All right, do you have a competitive advantage? How are you positioned in relation to your competitors? Can this service be a leader in the market? And financial and operational feasibility. I did not cover sustainability, okay? But in this scoring, we've covered most of the score here, okay? And for those that are true entrepreneurs, not here for the competition, we've basically taken this idea, we've validated it with customer research, we've found a creative solution that wasn't what we originally thought it was going to be. We figured out how to make money, and we figured out what's the lowest cost, cheapest, fastest way to test it out, yeah? So my promise to you was we're going to take this random idea, and we're going to bring it to life. We're going to take this random idea of wanting to make lunch easier for UH students, and we brought it to life, yeah? Okay, so with that said, any questions? Nope. All right. Well, hopefully that didn't bore you too much. I'm here. If you guys want to ask questions, I'll be around. For those of you that are students, you can also come to my office hours at any time, yeah? Okay. With that said, I think there's some food, but how about it? All right. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.